Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual JForex, we will be starting afresh with the new set of indicators. The name is Bollinger Bands, and we will see how we can design and develop the profitable algorithm using these indicators. So let us now head to the Visual JForex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. You will find these indicators listed amongst the other indicators just below the ATR. Here it is. This relies on the moving averages along with the standard deviation. So we can define these input parameters depending on which we will get three output values, the upper band, middle band, and the lower band. And these three levels help us in determining whether the underlying momentum is bullish or bearish for any given financial instrument. And we will see how we can figure out a combination which is likely to keep us in a good state to find the optimum trading opportunities. This is the Euro USD chart on the hourly time frame, and for this session we will be relying on this formation to figure out the opportunities to go long or short as the case may be. The setup is going to be fairly simple. We want to be trading with the trend, and for that we will be taking the help of this Bollinger band and its upper band and the lower band. For any buy trade to happen, we will need the bullishness in the underlying prices, and that means the standard deviation should be happening on the higher side. The price action should be touching this upper band, and it should not be touching the lower band in immediate vicinity prior to the execution of the trade. And for sale trade to happen, we will need the price action to be concentrated on the lower side of this middle band. It should be favorable. In terms of bearishness, it should have touched the lower band, and it should be not moving on the higher side, and the price action needs to be below this upper band. So what we will do, we will place the condition that in last 2 days, so we will be taking the 12 candles of 4 hours each. That means we will be looking at the data of 48 hours, which simply means 2 days. And in 2 days, so first we will consider the conditions which need to be in place for the buy trade, and for buy trade to take place. In last 2 days, the price action should have been in the bullish bracket, and in 48 hours, this candle high, we will take the cluster of 12 4 hourly candles, and clusters high should be above this upper band, and for that we will have to take the value of this upper band, and we will of course be relying on the value. I think we will have to go back a day or two in time, because if we consider the current value of the upper band, then it is a lot higher because of the deviation, so it will not be helpful. So we will have to decide on this prior value and compare the cluster high, the 4 hourly candles, 12 clusters, 12 candles taken together, and the highest of that value needs to be higher than this upper band, and it should not have touched the lower band, so it will need to be above the lower band. The lowest value should be above the lower band, and the highest value will need to be higher than the upper band. And with that, we will also be considering the momentum. So whenever we see that the momentum is gaining, and we have the last 4 hourly candle rising sharply, by sharply I mean we will be placing the condition of 20 pips. So the difference between its starting price, the opening value, and the closing value will need to be more than 20 pips, and for buy trade the closing value will need to be higher than the opening value by 20 pips at least. And whatever is the actual difference, we will take half of it and place a pending order on the lower side. So that's the logic. And for sell trade to happen, we will need the bearishness in the price action of the Euro USD, and for that we'll be checking the last 48 hours price action, and the cluster low will need to be below the lower band, and it will also need to be lower than this upper band. The cluster high will need to be below this upper band, and whenever we have sharp move on the lower side, and similar condition is going to be placed here also, we will need the closing value to be below the opening value by more than 20 pips, and whatever is the actual price difference, we will take 50% of it and place the order on the higher side, and that will be a limit order. So the logic is quite simple, and the execution part is also going to be simple. So now we head back to the Visual JForex board, and I will need to change these blocks candle period to 4 hours, and shift value is also going to be changed to 1. Okay, now we have to start from the scratch, and for that we will first thing have to take is logical block. We will need 3 of these. Start point will be on candle. To get the instrument subscription done, we will need this default instrument to be matched with candle instrument. Oh no, this is the tick. We will have to take on candle data. First input equals second input, and here in this block the candle instrument will need to match the instrument of choice, which is Euro USD. Okay, so all set. And to look at the open position, we will have to take the position info. We will take all position amount to make sure that there is no existing open or pending position on the account prior to the execution of the new trade. So we don't happen to double down on any existing position, and trades should be open keeping the equity of the account in mind. Now coming to these Bollinger Bands, this one will help us in looking at the price action and how the last 4 hourly candle has closed. I have to define the MA type, and we will be taking the SMA as the MA type. You can take different option. All these options are provided: SMA, EMA, WMA, DMA. So all kinds of moving averages are available to choose from. And as I said, we will also have to go back in time and retrieve the Bollinger Band value. And what we will do, we will take the shift value of 6. So we will be looking at the Bollinger Band value a day back, and we will compare the cluster high and the cluster low with that, with the upper band and the lower band of that Bollinger Band. Okay, so for this, the indicator other, and here it is. It is going to be 6. MA type is going to be same, SMA, simple moving average, and the candle period will be changed to 4 hours. Okay, now to consider the price action, how the movement has been, we will have to rely on the info component, and for that we will be taking the help of this get historical candle to look at the immediate price action. This will be defined of 4 hours. Shift is going to be 1, and to consider the price action over last 2 days, we will have to take the cluster of 4 hourly candles, and the candle amount is going to be 12. We are going to get the array of data candles 18, and to retrieve the individual variable we will have to put this output value in a loop viewer, and for that I will have to check logical component. Here it is. Candle period will need to be changed to 4 hours. Candles 18, and new output value will need to be created. I will name it BHL. Okay, and to pinpoint the exact entry point we will also be relying on the 10-second candles. For that we have to again add the info component. Oh, sorry, I kind of absent-mindedly added in 4 hours. It should be 10 seconds, and shift value is going to be 1 and 2 respectively. 1, and this one will be 2. Okay, and to define the condition we will carry out one calculation as well. So I'm going to need to add mathematical component. Here in this block we will define 20 pips. Default variables, default instrument pip size will need to be multiplied by a new variable with the value of 20 to create the variable with the output value of 20 pips. So I will name it EPM start value 20, and we multiply A1 into A2. So this will be our minimum condition. So I will name it MC. and we have this basic or bare bone structure in place now. And with this in place, we will stop for the day as we are running short on time. And I hope you have been able to understand the logical part as well as the execution part so far. And once we come back in next session, we will start building on the buy side. We will see how we can go about defining the logic for the execution of the buy trade. And in subsequent session, it will be turn off the sell side to be defined. So that's it from my side for today's session. If you want to go for further information on the market, you can access our Dukascopy analytics page. And whenever you want to start trading, you can download the JForex platform, and it's quite easy to use. And if still any assistance is required, you can write to me in the feedback section. We are also available on the social media. You can follow our Facebook page. So thank you all for joining in. See you next time. Till then, goodbye.